Hello there to all my followers of darkness, shadow scavengers, and villainy aficionados. Welcome, bienvenue. Here I am, Lord of Shadows, and this, my friends, is Shadow Talk, or more precisely, One Piece Talk. Now, the subject that I'm gonna explore in this video, it is something that was in my mind for like the last 10 years or something, you know, which of course is also the main title of this video. Can One Piece have spin-offs? Now, when it comes to the overall anime industry, I mean, anime is no stranger when it comes to like spin-offs. I mean, just look at Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, My Hero Academia, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. I mean, and many different other anime franchises who basically expanded themselves, with many different spin-offs. Now, when it comes to One Piece, recently even One Piece kind of like entered that spin-off arena a little bit, especially with the release of that fan letter project. Also, it was recently announced that One Piece Heroines will be adapted as well. It will be released in a very like near future and everything. So it's getting there, like a little bit slowly, but One Piece is getting there. Now, the type of the spin-offs that I'm interested in, that I was always interested in, were the ones that are more connected to the main One Piece canon timeline, past, present, or future. So basically, throughout these past few days, I've been trying to dig a little deeper, basically to try to figure out which teams, which events, which characters deserve to have a spin-off. Now, one of them on my list, of course, a lot of people, a lot of One Piece fans, or casual One Piece fans will also agree with me to kind of that this is something that should be released and everything, but we're gonna get there. Okay, we're gonna get there. But I will admit that in my top five, number one, it's gonna be a very predictable, wish list idea, basically. But overall, here I'm gonna show you guys my overall top five ideas for like possible One Piece spin-offs. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go from like number five, from like least from like a project that has like least chances to number one has the most higher chances of them all to be released as a One Piece spin-off. So without any further ado, let's begin, shall we? Now, my number five, this is something that caught my eye when I started reading Egghead arc and everything, which and the first time it was revealed and everything, I thought like, huh, I think that'd be actually kind of interesting, to explore a little bit more. And of course, I'm talking about none other than Mads. Yep, or as I like to call it, the younger days of Dr. Vegapunk. I mean, look, this is my this is like my fifth choice of possible One Piece spin-offs, but also at the same time a spin-off that has like less chance to actually be realized and everything. But I still thought it would be interesting to explore, kind of like I said, the younger days of Dr. Vegapunk, and also at the same time exploring the younger days of characters like Queen, Caesar Clown, Vince McJudge, and Buckingham Stussy, as well. I mean, also for people actually who don't know what MADS is, basically MADS was like this group of like mad scientists who were like doing many different genetic and technological experiments, outside the law and everything. I mean, for Dr. Vegapunk, basically, who was also the leader of MADS, he was trying to create, experiments, that kind of benefit humanity and everything. But of course, his colleagues from behind his back basically were trying to do, well, evil, mad experiments. Let's put it that way. But overall, again, of all the things that we learn about Vegapunk in Egghead arc, especially when it comes to his younger days, the most of the time we spend on his younger days were mostly connected with Kuma, with the world government, and of course with Dragon. We barely actually see him alongside other Mads, with his other Mads colleagues and everything. So I felt as my fifth choice, I felt like this would be kind of interesting to see, being explored a little bit deeper, as a possible One Piece spinoff, because again, one of the things when I was doing in my research is one of the things I was trying to search for characters that are basically kind of like a one-off thing. They're not part of like the main the main character list basically. And Vegapunk, you know, from Egghead Arc, and of course, if you know what happened after that, was a one-off character. You know, was a one-off character. He played his part, and basically that's it. The only thing that was left of him were the satellites. Well, some of them, you know. But yeah, but so basically, Mads, I feel like is my fifth choice. Something like that. It would be kind of. I think it would have been kind of interesting to see. Kind of like explore these kind of like younger days of Doctor Vegapunk. I mean, it would have been cool. I mean, like just like almost every single One Piece elements. This will definitely be kind of like I could definitely see this kind of like an action packed comedy, a little bit of like a sci-fi, spin-off and everything. But I think like overall, I thought that would be interesting, to kind of explore, especially to find out more about Dr. Vegapunk, because again, Caesar Clown, Queen, Vince McJudge, and Buckingham Stussy, like those are all characters. They're kind of like we saw like bits and pieces of them and everything. They had a role to play, and then basically after that, we never saw them again. So I think this will be a perfect opportunity to explore these characters. Now, my number four is an event that I thought would be also interesting to kind of explore a little bit more. An event that was first introduced during the Long Ring Longland arc. And of course, I'm talking about none other than Davy Beck fight. Now, my idea for a Davy Beck fight spin-off, it would be more like an anthology anime spin-off, in which like every single episode could be a different story with totally different characters, like every single time, which also includes different timelines. It could be like 40 years ago or 20 years ago or before the timescape or after the timescape. Maybe like one of the episodes we could see like Rocksteady's back, or we could see Foxy or whatever. Like the point is, I can definitely see Dave Beck fight. If they ever realize a thing like that, I could definitely see it being done only as an anthology series, which I thought like overall would be interesting. It would be definitely interesting to see. Now, of course, with Dave Beck fight, like I can't see it like going all the way to the beginning, like how it was created and everything, in honor of Davy Jones and everything, So yeah, but overall, Dave Beck fight, I can definitely see it as an anthology series, 100%. Now, this one, okay, now this one, it's more of a broader idea, basically. Now, yes, I did put my third choice. I did put like I did put Marines and everything, and of course, my very first idea was basically to explore the younger days of Garp, Sengoku, and Tsuru. Basically, kind of like explaining how, like from Marine rookies, they became the legends that we all know today, love, and respect. But at the same time, it clicked to me, like besides the characters that play a major role in the main One Piece story, like for example, Garp, Sengoku again, Garp, Sengoku, Tsuru, Tashigi, Smoker, Kobe, Helmeppo, Akainu, Kizaru, Okiji, Fujitora, Rikuja. Well, Okiji is no longer a Marine, or is it? But anyway, besides all the main players, I can even see a Marine project where basically, again, as an anthology series, kind of like how can I put this, like the Marine Chronicles or Tales of the Marines, basically, in which like every single episode you explore like a normal day life, or should I say a normal day marine life of like other characters that basically were introduced to them like piece by piece, and basically like we saw them like like basically let's just say across the Ennis Lobby arc, or like Marineford, or maybe like the beginning of the One Piece story, like Romance Dawn or Arlon Park or Orange Town. The point is, you can like basically you can have also another idea in which like basically you can every single episode it could be a story of different Marines, that we never had a chance to fully explore. I mean, for example, you can make a Marine episode. If it could be a Marines like anthology series, you can make one episode about Django and Full Body, or you can make one about Vice Admiral Stainless, or you can make one about um, about Rear Admiral Hina, or you can make one for Vice Admiral Doberman, or Strawberry, or like Momonga, or like Onigumo, or like even like who else, like or even Captain Morgan, if you want to, the point is that a Marine project, I think, that will also work. And also the third idea is also you can easily make a Marines spin-off series in which basically you can tell a story from a with a completely new character who never appeared in the One Piece manga or anime before, and kind of basically gave us that perspective from the Marine side of the story, because it basically, for the most part of the One Piece story, it was basically from the pirates' perspective. Let's put that, it's from the pirates' perspective. So what if you can have a story in which you can tell it from a Marine's perspective, how they see their own version of justice, how they see pirates, what is right and wrong, what is the difference between justice and the law, and things like that. Easily, I mean, like I said, the first idea, you could easily start. Let's just say the main characters could be Vice Admiral, from a branch, from a branch, somewhere, in the East Blue, North Blue, West, or South Blue, like something similar, like Vice Admiral Comil. You can have something like that, basically, and and you can tell a small story about him and his troops, basically going in different actions, going after pirates and everything. And also those kind of projects, you can even have main characters appear, sort of cameo or guest stars or something. But the point is, with the Marines, you have many different ideas, that you can play with, But my personal favorite would be, or should I say, my personal choice would be, basically the younger days of Garp, Sengoku, and Suru. Basically, I think that will kind of not simply be interesting for most One Piece fans, but at the same time, it's something that I would personally choose. So that's my third choice. Now, my second choice, that is something that if they ever announce it as One Piece spin-off, I think this is one of the two that I definitely believe could be greenlit. If Eiichiro Oda gives permission, of course. And that is, of course, I'm talking about none other, the Rocks Pirates. I mean, think about it. First and foremost, this is a spin-off that will be a full villain-centric anime. Okay? I mean, again, villain-centric animes, anime is no stranger to that as well. I mean, just look at Overlord, basically. Overlord is a full villain-centric anime. So why not have a One Piece spin-off where basically the main characters are the villains? Because the thing is, Rox Digzabek, just like Goldie Roger, we're gonna find, this is a type of character that we only gonna have bits and pieces of them, let's just say in Rox Digzabek's case, we right now, he's getting fully explored, in Elbaf arc, right now, but again, it's not a full-on story. We only, Eiichiro Oda is only giving us bits and pieces that are important to the main storyline, to kind of give us an idea, about certain events and certain revelations that will play a big role in the future of the One Piece storyline. So again, we're not gonna have a full story when it comes to Rox Digzabek, how he created the Rocks Pirates. Although we do have an idea, how he created them, how he gathered all his crew and everything, all the way to his demise, in the God Valley incident. But after the whole Rocks Pirates, and Elbaf arc is done, or maybe at the end of the One Piece franchise, why not do a Rocks Pirates anime spin-off? You can, because I think this is one of the perfect choices, which I think a lot of people, especially One Piece fans, will be interesting to see. I mean, like, you can explore in like much more deeply, the character of Rox Diggs back. Like, for example, I mean, again, you don't have to go like all the way back, like when he was a child, but like, maybe like when he was a young adult, like his adventures, meddling with with the world government affairs, or like, during the Dave Beck fights, where he basically created his own crew, to like, the formation of the Rocks Pirates, his relationship with, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, Don Marlon, Buckingham Stussy, like Silver Axe, Ganzui, uh, Gil Bastar, literally the Rocks Pirates. You can do all sorts of things throughout this spin-off. I personally think, like, not just simply you can explore the character Rox the Zabak like way more deeply, but also at the same time you can also give us like a full-on story, like a full-on storyline in which we basically see younger, like, Big Mom, Kaido, or Whitebeard, in action, basically. Like how they were in their basically their own glory days, or should I say in their how they were, like, in their starting point, basically. And also alongside, it would give us like a biggest chance to explore a little more deeply, like I said, other Rocks Pirates characters, like, like I said, like Captain John, Ganzui, Don Marlon, Ochoku, Silver Axe, and many different others. So like this is a project that has so many opportunities, absolutely so many great opportunities to explore, especially Rox the Xebek, and of course, with the, and again, this, you can fill so many holes in this, spin-off, but also at the same time using the same moments that Ichiro Oda revealed, throughout the manga, and of course it's going to be revealed in the anime as well. And also it's a TV show. Sorry, it's an anime that, you already know how it's going to end. You already know where this is leading to. Which is basically the God Valley incident, in which like Rox digs back, will meet his end, basically. Now of course in the God Valley incident, I believe in the manga, we're gonna get like a sort of like a version of it and everything. But if you're gonna do a spin-off, I mean, I'm telling you, you can do so many great things. You can give us a God Valley incident on a way more bigger scale. Like an actual full-on final fight. So yeah, I mean, I would love to see a Rox Digs back spin-off, or a Rocks Pirates spin-off. Absolutely, because there's all sorts of elements with Rocks and his crew that they could easily be fully explored, and I personally would love to see that. But again, it's all about Ichiro Oda's approval. And now the number one, which of course for a lot of people is going to be very predictable, and of course, so let's not beat about the bush. Goldie Roger. Okay, Goldie Roger. So just like the Rocks Pirates, if they announce a Goldie Roger spinoff, basically like from his glory days, like when he first started as a pirate all the way to his execution, I'll be like, hey, count me in, absolutely. Now this is a character, maybe like if Toy Animation decided to do like a spin-off about Goldie Roger, I feel like this spin-off that I think like Eiichiro Oda might have second thoughts to actually like allow it to happen and everything, because like because for a lot of fans, and also for Ichiro Oda, I think like Goldie Roger, should remain the way how he was used for the main One Piece storyline. Kind of like an interesting guy that also serves the the main story. Of course, along with of course especially with Laugh Tale, the One Piece, and everything, but also at the same time leaving him to be like a bit of a mystery, as well, and everything. But honestly, again, even after he's dead, his character serves a purpose in the main One Piece timeline. But I still think Goldie Roger and the Roger Pirates, I feel like that could also be a great spin-off. I know there's gonna be a lot of people gonna say, it's gonna be just like Luffy and the Straw Hats, but like 20 to 40 years before and everything. Yes, I mean, sure, there will be some similarities, but at the same time, it's gonna be totally different because we're gonna have a totally different character, totally different era, totally different, like enemies, totally different adventures. Like it's not gonna be because this time it's not gonna be about finding the One Piece. It's gonna be about Goldie Roger leading him to like to basically find One Piece and everything. Because spoiler alert, in the actual manga and anime, it was revealed that Goldie Roger never created One Piece. He just simply found it on Laugh Tale and everything. So again, I think like this would be a really great opportunity to kind of explore the character a little bit more. Not to mention seeing Silver Rayleigh and Scopper Gabon and other members of the Roger Pirates, basically see them in action in their glory days and everything. I mean, I so personally, I think like Goldie Roger. I think like if Eiichiro Oda, if someone talks to Eiichiro Oda, I really wish that he will give his thumbs up for a Goldie Roger spin-off, because I think it's a character I think it deserves to have its own spin-off and everything. So, but yeah, basically, again, those are just my top five kind of like ideas of like but basically my own wish list of like possible One Piece spin-offs. And it means also one of the things I would really love to see if they ever do this, is of course the rivalry between Whitebeard and him. I think that would be because that is also something that would be interesting to explore as well. Absolutely. Not to mention also seeing Goldie Roger, coming to Skypiea, writing down that message, that I was here and I will take those words, all the way to the end of the world. Pirate Goldie Roger. I mean, like all those sort of stuff, that we have seen throughout the entire main One Piece timeline. I personally think it would be great to actually see it actually like happening for the first time, and also say from like Roger's perspective and everything. I think that would be really great to see. And that basically those are my top five One Piece spin-off wish ideas that I think when it comes to One Piece spin-offs and everything. Now, besides them, I will say as a bonus, besides them, I can see other things that could also work as like a spin-off. Like for example, you can do a for example, like one of the other things I would love to see as a spin-off, basically, the Giant Warrior Pirates. Like the generation of Jarl and Yorl, or for example, the generation of Dory and Brogy, or even like the new Giant Warrior Pirates, with like with Hyrudin and everything. Or even better, a a spin-off about Fisher Tiger and the Fishman Pirates. That actually could be also interesting to kind of like explore and everything, like in details and all. So basically, with my like top five, I feel like these are also basically kind of like my bonus bonus choices as well. I mean, also at the same time, like when it comes to all these ideas, every single one of them, I can definitely see them being like limited. I don't like most certainly I don't believe they're gonna last like the actual One Piece and everything. Like no. I think like those spin-offs will last like way shorter. They will last like way shorter than than the current one and everything. I mean, like for example, like Rocks Pirates. I mean, you can definitely do this anime maybe if you want to stretch it, maybe to like 100 or 200 episodes. But I think like if you're gonna do a Rocks Pirates anime, I think like you will go like towards maybe 90 to 100 episodes. Goldie Roger, I mean, you can, if you want to stretch it, I also can see it being like between like 70 to 90 to even 100 episodes as well. I don't think it will be it will be more than that. So basically every single spin-off idea that I had will definitely be last way more shorter than the actual One Piece. And with that being said, here it is, guys. Rate the video, comment, like, subscribe. Personal thoughts and ideas. What are your personal wish lists when it comes to like One Piece having possible spin-offs and everything? Like just like which of the top five that I chose? Which of the fives do you find your own favorites? Which ones would you like to see to actually become a reality? Or do you have your own personal wish list? Just like I said a few seconds ago. Everything, just put it in the comment section down below. And as always, stay tuned for more. Lord of Shadows signing off. See you guys next time, or as I like to say, later, fuckers.